rig.
Cheers, everybody, and welcome to your favorite late night Friday night hash cast. It is Variables, and it is episode 53 with your favorite hosts, myself, Frigoli, Superior Buds, and joining us soon will be Pedro's Grow Room. We're just trying not to knock over dab rigs or light our hair on fire or anything like that tonight. How are you doing,
All
Superior
kinds
Buds?
of problems going on tonight already. Gosh. Doing good, man. How are you doing?
Doing well, man. I spent the day getting some last minute processing done. I should have brought it with me so I could whip it in front of y'all, but it definitely needs some more whipping. It's raspberry parfait. Actually, you know what? I think I have a video I could probably share with you guys. I took a little porno video and
love some juicy videos.
I tried to post it on Instagram today, and it just kept retrying over and over again. So we'll go ahead and
Instagram's been quite the nightmare the past couple weeks.
Really? You've been having some issues?
Yeah. It went down a few times. So did Facebook.
Well, that's that goes probably deeper than we can get into right off the bat here.
Right.
But okay, let's go ahead and share this with you guys. I think I have to do the full window. It does show you the name. I was hoping it wouldn't show you the name at the top. It's gonna make you guess the strain. No slow motion or anything, but certainly a full jar.
Yeah, I'd say holy shit.
I got a little nervous there.
Yeah, you don't want that all over the counter.
Yeah.
What would you use to clean it up with if you did get it on the counter?
I mean,
what's your go-to?
Here's the thing, man. I keep that stainless steel counter very clean, especially in a situation like that where I'm doing a pour off. So in some cases, if it's enough, I scrape it with a stainless steel scraper. It's not a dab tool, it's a wider, it's a scraper.
Yep.
And I'll collect that and just throw it in a jar and purge it on its own, and get up maybe 1 gram or 2 grams out of it. So I've spilled before where it's my God. Yeah. But I've also had some little drips spray out or whatever and splatter everywhere. And it's like, in that case, I'm just cleaning it up with whatever's on hand. Whether that's, ISO is probably a good option for something like that, just to kind of break it down real quick and clean it up. But I prefer to use ethanol. I get the 99.98%, I think it is, lab grade ethanol from Best Value Vax or shopbbv.com.
Yep.
Yeah. And it just works so much better than ISO. It doesn't leave any weird residue behind. It actually cleans,
That's what I was kind of getting towards, is because being on stainless, I don't like that residue on my stainless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you're rocking, especially with 70% ISO, if that's all you can find, you're rocking 30% water or whatever. There's a lot of other stuff in that, it's not just.
Yeah. What is that other stuff?
Exactly. And so you're doing less cleaning, I think, at that point than you are just mashing stuff around. And I don't remember what it was in the pandemic. I think 70% was the minimum you're supposed to use for the hand sanitizer, right? Isn't it? Because everyone was making their own and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, if that's the minimum for your own skin, I'm gonna try to go a lot higher for stainless steel, something that's not living. I don't have to worry about killing cells or something, or just getting it in a cut. Oh my Atlanta.
Yeah, these are I use for the desk. I have 70% pads that are just the cleanup, but I have the bottle of 99 around here. But down in the hash room, I've never had to clean up too big of a mess, thankfully, yet. But
what is
stainless cleaner? Barkeeper's Friend.
Oh, Barkeeper's Friend. Yeah. For your sinks and shit, man. I mean, but I grew up with my parents. Every day we were cleaning our stainless steel sink with that. At the end of the day, with that green scrubby pad, you know what I mean?
A house sponge that's stainless. That would have been a pain in the butt. I don't know that I would ever want to have a stainless in my house. I thought I would like a normal I have a colored sink in my house right now, and I thought it was really cool when I moved in. Okay. But now after 6 years, like, yeah, I wish it was just a normal sink now that was stainless and could be easily cleaned.
Is it like a porcelain sink?
Yeah, is it
okay?
Like color. Well, you've seen my sink before. I just don't know.
I don't remember it, bro. Is it like a granite type situation?
Yeah, it's red though.
All I know is it's red.
Yeah, all I know is it's a color and everything shows on it, and you can't seem to clean it no matter what you do. Just super annoying.
Yeah, and you saw in that video like the streaks on the stainless steel. Like you're not gonna keep it perfect. It's gonna be brushed stainless steel very quickly. But
yeah, that's my fear always is the deep scratches. That top layer.
Bro, there's been a couple times where I've dropped pieces of my stainless steel closed loop system, just a little bit too hard, and I'm like looking like, oh god, did I just scratch it, dent it, do something, Well,
I had to order
stainless and stainless crime is usually not an issue.
Yeah, I had to order my big stainless tables from online. They got shipped here, then you get the box, and the box is damaged, and I'm like, oh
panic ensues.
Do not make me send this fucking thing back.
Yeah, wait another 4 weeks. That was so I'll give a shout out to all my Southeast Michigan folk. In Southfield, there's a store called Restaurant Equippers. It's in Southfield. It's right on like Greenfield and I-60, 69, 696, one of those roads. One of those 69696 roads. But it's a big like warehouse store that has everything from refrigerators to cooking utensils to nitrile gloves to every
restaurant
stainless
supply stores are gold mines.
Yes, especially for labs. You know what I mean? I mean, even grows too, but just any kind of processing the cannabis side of things, you really want to use something like stainless steel as much as possible, whether it's your tables, your backsplashes, your equipment, whatever it might be. It's going to hold up better, and it's going to be a lot easier to clean.
We use Web Restaurant Store because there's nothing near
Webstaurant store. Webstaurant. Yeah.
But with that, you need to make sure, because you pay shipping, and shipping is not cheap with them.
Yep.
So
it's like Uline.
Right. So like our restaurant here in town, I talked to him and I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, well, I order from them, but you order once a year.
Yeah.
Get all your shit together. So last time he ordered, that's when I got my stainless table.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Throw it on the fucking truck, man.
Find somebody who's doing a big order.
There you go, North Oakland County. Yeah, you'll find it. Southfield ain't too far. Metro Detroit. But yeah, Webster store. I've ordered some stuff on there too. They're a great option, especially if you got to get it shipped. That's probably honestly my go-to. I even get food supplies on there, like my coffee syrup that I like for my espresso, cappuccino, latte, macchiato, whatever the hell I'm making over here. I buy the Monin syrups on there because they're cheaper than you can get anywhere else, especially after you buy like the
supply store. It's like if you could get access to a Cisco truck, right? You do it because you're gonna save money. But even the same thing, I mean, buying larger quantities of flour and sugar if you're cooking at home. I imagine you doing all those cookies. I saw all those today.
All right. Since you mentioned them, I'll bring
come
it on. So yeah, I've been busy. Been busy cooking today. It's been a long time since I've busted out the terp cookies, but I finally brought back the Lime Skunk terp cookies, and so this is a fun process and something I feel like is pretty unique because it's not. I don't know. I just haven't really seen anybody else do it yet. Still, I think I've been doing this for a year and a half or maybe more now at this point, but. In any case, it's basically through the process of extracting my cannabinoids and terpenes, I am able to extract off a good portion of the terpenes. And just like, there's a lot of different processes that can do that. I'm not unique in that way, but through collecting the Lime Skunk terpenes, I'm able to whip them right into that royal icing you see there. That's clearly green and not based on chlorophyll. It's clearly based on Lime Skunk. That That's it's just straight terpenes, live resin terpenes, high terpene extract whipped right into the frosting, and then you've got the high cannabinoid extract whipped into the cookie after it's been decarbed. The reason I do that is because if you're going to decarb your oil to make it usable and an edible, in that process you're going to burn off the terpenes. And so to be able to capture the essence of the plant on the day of harvest like I try to, and then bring it into something more than just a dab or an extract, but into an actual edible, that's kind of what it takes. You have to separate out the terpenes, you have to kind of fraction them off in one way or another, and then you have to kind of hold them aside and put them into something that's not going to be heated. And an icing, a frosting, something like that isn't going to be heated typically. And
do you frost them then when they're cool, or is the heat from the cookies when they're cooling not enough?
No, it's so I cool them on the racks, and I'm doing a couple batches at a time, so they're probably getting about 15 minutes of cooling time, and then I'm taking the the piping bag with my royal icing in it, and I'm drizzling it over top, doing my best to give it the same amount per cookie. It is what it is, but no, it's just piped over top, and it's the consistency of the royal icing is really key, and all that takes is a couple drops of water to change it. And so
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, all the icing is powdered sugar or confectioner sugar, some lukewarm water, and it's not much, meringue powder, which is an egg-based thing, and then the terpenes, lime skunk terpenes, and of course some food coloring. There's food coloring in there. The lime skunk terpenes aren't that green.
do you reduce the water content because of the terpenes then, or do they not add enough?
It's so between the they don't add that much. It accounts for some of it, just like the food coloring does, because it's a gel, but it's still liquid, So I don't add if we were to take like the basic recipe for this, I'm not adding as much water as they are, but I'm working up to that, and to the point where I see that it's this consistency that's going to almost naturally melt over the cookies. And the cookies are, they're scooped out with like essentially an ice cream scooper, but it's a cookie scooper, but think of that little clicking handle thing, and you just scoop it out. So it's a pretty consistent size that way. But in terms of like getting it to flow over those cookies, consistently to like
you want it to flow level, but not be water.
Yeah, exactly. Because it will pour right off. You can see it kind of dripping onto the bottom there in this area here. And that's like, I don't know if you guys remember the cheese paper commercials for like Whoppers or whatever, Big Macs, whatever it was back in the day, the cheese paper commercials. That's what the parchment reminds me of after the end of this, because there's just like, a solid, I don't know, a handful worth of frosting that you can just shove down your throat if you're really feeling some lime skunk. And here's the thing. Each one of these cookies, I've whipped enough lime skunk terpenes into these cookies that each one of these cookies has almost a dab's worth of terpenes in the cookie. Wow. So I mean, it's not like you're just getting a hint of flavor and it kind of tastes like weed or something. No, these taste like a dab of lime skunk.
That's awesome.
And it's about 50 milligrams each, so nothing too crazy. It's something you can throw back or take a bite of, and not be too concerned. For most of us, not all of us. I understand everyone has different tolerances.
Do something to me. Not an edibles guy.
Yeah, well, everyone's got their.
Yeah, the tolerance for me just, it's like all of it in the first 5 minutes and then ride a wave until I wake up.
That's a new way of describing it. I love it.
Shrek balls.
I mean, call them that. I already labeled them, but maybe next time.
There you go. Got your new marketing. Sorry, he was. Oh, you're muted.
JK, I've got something I really wanted to get both your perspective on and Pedro's, and I'm hoping that he'll show up soon. But I'm going to start by asking you about this, and I'm nearly positive you saw this already on my Instagram, but I'll go ahead and share it here so everybody can join in. I'll just read the caption. A tale in 2 parts. This is how you crash the Michigan rosin market. Croptober came and went and brought us a 405% increase in fresh frozen sitting in freezers around the state. Guess where that's all going?
Mm-hmm.
Also, have fun converting imperial to metric because, if we want to talk grams or something like that, it does take a little calculations, which we could do live. I'm comfortable enough doing that. I
just asked ChatGPT. Come on.
There you go. It's a different kind of calculator. But okay, yep. So this is the tale, and this is part 1. This is as of September 30th, 2024. So we have monthly reports in Michigan. They come out usually a little over halfway through the following month of the preceding report. And this one is the report for the results of the report for September. It's for the recreational market in Michigan, not the medical market, even though that's like less than 0.2% of the overall market. Actually, let me do that math real quick. It's about a third of 1%. We'll give it almost a third of 1% now. Less than $1 million in 1 month, though, whereas we're doing about $270 million in the rec side. All right, all that said, so I wanted to look at fresh frozen specifically. I mean, flour and stuff, it tells its own story, but fresh frozen, which we're looking at these 2 lines, fresh frozen flour at processors. So that means a grower grew some plants, they harvested it, and they froze it, and then they've transported it to a processor. Now that processor might be owned by them. It might be on the same property. They might have just moved it from one building to another, so to speak. They might have shipped it literally across the state and, hired a processor to convert it into something else. Then you've also got fresh frozen at growers. Fresh frozen at growers is something that's been harvested by the grower, but hasn't made it to the processor anywhere else yet. So they've got their own freezer set up on the grower's licensed property. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the 2 things I want to look at. The first one at processors, the stuff that's already made it to processors, we're looking at in September, as of September 30th, 2024, we've got 211,000 pounds. We can round that up to 212,000 or round it down to 200,000. I don't really care. It doesn't make that much of a difference. We'll just call it 200,000 pounds. Yeah, a good amount of poundage, right? And, we could convert that into grams and see what that kind of looks like if you want. Let's do it. No, let's not do it yet. Let's just stick with
but it's also 105 tons of
there you go. That's
a cool way to think about it.
Yeah. How much? Never mind.
And how many tons are in a shit ton?
Probably like at least 6. So fresh frozen at growers is 236. We could just call that 250,000 pounds. It's a quarter. It's 236. So between those 2, though, we're looking at 450, a little shy of 500,000 pounds, but 450 almost 1,000 pounds of fresh frozen. Guys, this isn't like harvested, hanging, halfway trimmed, in the process of being trimmed. This is in freezers, like sitting in freezers. Okay, so a lot of power holding this down, right?
Yeah.
Now again, I don't mean to drag this on too long, but that's 450,000 pounds as of September 30th. Now, Superior Buds in Michigan, what typically happens in October?
Oh yeah, good old Croptober.
What is Croptober? What does that mean for us?
That's all of our outdoor harvest. And here, the massive number.
And now we're in October. So we've got October 31st. So we're talking a month later, right? A little over 4 weeks, maybe pushing almost 5 weeks at this point. Fresh frozen flour at processors. We were at, again, remember, 211.
It's already over the total of the previous month.
Yes. So So 211,000 pounds was what we had. We can round that again to 200,000 pounds of fresh frozen flour at processors. Now, I don't know how much they're working through every month, guys. We could go back through the months and kind of figure that out pretty quickly, probably. Maybe they're keeping up. Maybe they're doing 200,000 pounds a month, right? Maybe that's their kind of capacity that they're doing. But we see that Croptober brought us an additional 476,000 pounds. So yes, just the fresh frozen flour that made it to the processors, that already made it to the processors from Croptober, is more than we had at both the growers and the processors the month previously. Now let's move on, because that's not even the most impressive part. That's just the capacity of the processors' freezers is all that's telling us.
Right.
Because what's sitting at the growers still, and how many truck trailer freezers did they rent out? They've got 1,127,000 pounds of fresh frozen sitting at growers' facilities right now, for a total of over 1.8 million pounds of fresh frozen in the state right now. That has, well, as of October 31st, that has not even been touched. Now I ask you, what kind of returns are we looking at? Superior Buds, I'll let you give me that percentage, because on a good day with some lime skunk, maybe I'm getting 5%, right? On an average day, maybe I'm getting 4%. On a not good day, I'm getting below 3.5%. What do you think our average is here for maybe some returns on this material, this 1.8 million?
Gosh. Let's do some math real quick. I just want to,
because 1.8 million pounds times 454 grams is 817 million grams. And if we times that, multiply that by 0.04, so 4%, that's still a pretty solid return. We now have nearly 33 million grams of concentrate.
Yeah.
33 million grams of concentrate. And let's just, for the sake of argument, say that we turned all of that into distillate, and we're still getting that 4% return. Well, guess what? We've got 33,000 liters of distillate now hanging out in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Just from that 1 month's crop, by the way. It's just 1 month's crop.
Yeah, the prices over the past couple months had already dropped, and I'm wondering how long until we see fallout from Croptober. It'd be interesting to look at last year's trends on the prices and see when October affected.
Yeah. If you want to pump those files into ChatGPT, I've done it before, but I don't think I have the memory.
Yeah, I've already into Google's notebook. I have imported this entire year's reports.
Throw a couple from last year in there too, man. If it can't,
so we can
process them quick. Yeah. While you're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the actual report, because that is just, guys, that whole thing right there was just one chart from one section on one page of one report.
I mean, I think if I saw it right, it was like 100,000 grams still sitting of already processed as well. So, I mean,
yes, there was about 106,000 pounds. No, that was pounds, dude. That wasn't grams.
Let me bring up last year's.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, wait.
Are you screen sharing, or should I pull up the report here?
So I already have 2024 all imported, but I don't.
Let's take a look at that.
Okay.
I mean, that is set and been reviewed. So let's take a look at that first. before we start pumping it full of data that it might misinterpret.
So we can ask it any questions now. That's what's.
Mm-hmm.
I as I discussed before, I tried to have it build a graph for me because I wanted to see breakdowns month over month.
Right.
But the missing data, it wasn't able to fill in, and it didn't know what to do with the holes in the data.
Yeah, it gets,
which led me down a rabbit hole of why is there missing data, and why do they report differently every month? There's no good answer to that question.
No, I mean, like I told you, Ben, I'm more than happy if it comes to it, just to figure this out, to FOIA the data, because there's clearly a lot of data missing. And I mean, even if it's been fudged, like, I just want the full data set. You know what I mean? Like, I can determine my own charts and graphs from there. Thank you very much. Like, I don't need you to portray it in some weird way.
Yeah, just provide the same data points every month would.
Yeah.
Consistency.
That'd be helpful.
Yeah. As a data analyst, it pisses me off to not be able to analyze the data.
Especially if you have to, like, go manually manipulate it, you know, like.
Well, what would be a good question you would like to ask?
Well, I want to see, I mean, so this is only 2024. Let's just ask it what its perceived, like, what its perception on the Michigan market is based on these charts, like just something very open-ended.
One of the interesting things was there was an article this week from StatCan, I think, which is Statistics Canada, Ontario.
What's up, Pedro? Welcome.
Cheers, Pedro.
We're looking at the Michigan cannabis market right now and how we have 1.8 million pounds of fresh frozen from Croptober sitting in freezers right now, and we're wondering what to do with it.
Yeah, I remember you sending me that post. It's a little absurd.
I think you might have a different mic setup or something, Pedro. You sound distant. Just check that audio settings.
So this website actually does a lot of this statistical analysis for because federally legal cannabis over there, so they have a lot more data. But they provided the breakdown of Ontario's sales. And
how's that?
Sounds the same.
Yep. But they provided the breakdown of the sales, and I didn't have an idea in my head what's the difference between Michigan and Ontario. So I took a look. Ontario is 7.5 times larger by land. There's 4 million more people there. And doing the math, our cannabis market is 37 times larger by volume. By dollar, which we already know our dollars are lower. So by volume, we're much larger.
I don't think I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, I wasn't too surprised. I didn't expect it to be that big.
Yeah, it's to see those numbers though, like to actually see that it's like, oh shit, okay, but you know.
Well, they were touting I forget how much, a couple million or a couple million, no, I need the article, damn it. Yeah, they're almost 5 billion for the entire year for Ontario.
Yeah, I think we've doubled that already.
And we've doubled that in 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'll pull up that report.
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
You got something else?
Oh, go ahead.
All right. So the October monthly report, I'm gonna share the medical real quick just so you guys can see it. 961,000. We didn't even hit 1 million. The average retail price of flower for medical side is $92.61. Looking at about a little under 1 million flowering plants at the time. And this is October 31st. Just for reference with the inventory, fresh frozen net processors is 135,000 and less than 1 million fresh frozen at growers. But still, like, that's for the medical market, that's kind of a lot, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's kind of a lot. I think a lot of people had big plans, and they're about to be sitting on a lot of material, I think. All right, so let's go ahead. Now we're at the rec side of things. Adult use, establishment licensing, product sales. For reference, 267 million. That's not a record, I don't think. I think we hit 279
August
million.
was the highest.
Okay.
So August was 286.
286, okay. Nice.
February was our lowest with 240.
And I think this right here is our lowest now. Average retail price of flower. It was sitting around like $80, $79 for like a few months, and it just drastically dropped with Croptober, I think, down to $73.99. So we have not found the bottom yet. But our sales to date, there you go, almost 10 billion in the first 10 months. So
I asked my Google AI with all the numbers to estimate the year for me. And it gave a conservative, a moderate, and an aggressive estimate based on low.
What's that range?
Median. So conservative, we will do 10.1. Moderate will do 10.2 billion, and aggressive will do 10.2.5 billion.
I'm gonna take the aggressive. I'm gonna take the over on that.
I think so too. I think after the numbers that we've seen drop, we're gonna see prices drop, but we're gonna see volume go up because of that. People are buying more.
That's what the trend has been, man. The prices go down, the volume goes up, and that's why we're beating California on some metrics because of that. Just right there. So this is the chart we had earlier that we looked at from my Instagram, the inventory with the massive amount of the 1.8 million and fresh frozen. And that's just fresh frozen, guys. I mean, if you're looking at flour, like actual dried flour, which is 80% less weight, you're still looking at over 500,000 pounds.
That's a really good point to bring up there, though, too, is that the fresh frozen includes the water weight versus the dried flour. So by volume, it's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and that's why I'm talking 3.5 to 5% returns and not 15, 18, 20% returns. If you're gonna get on some of that dry flour, which very much very, very well may be where it goes. You see these infused solids and infused liquids. It's like that's crazy amounts. I mean, this is in fluid ounces down here.
Infused solids. Okay, edibles, right?
Edibles. Yep.
Like that. That is the weirdest way to say.
Hey, we're spelling it with an H and shit over here, all right? So
someone's talking about solids. I'm not thinking,
especially infused.
So
nothing too crazy here. This always cracks me up seeing the shipped products from micro businesses. Like, where are you shipping it? You're not.
Yeah, how are you shipping? Who? Wait, what?
What is that? Let's look into that.
I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to have any.
Yeah. Actually, it wasn't on this one. I think maybe it was last month.
And that someone
got a license denied. I think there's 2 license denials somewhere. I thought it was on this one, but maybe not.
Interesting.
Yeah, micro businesses is still like sitting at 12. Oh yeah, that's what it was. The renewal applications, there was 2 denied.
Right.
On the retailer side. Yeah, and I don't know if I've ever seen denials before, since the start of this all, So I'd be curious.
It still kills me every month to see no micro business licenses. Just
yeah, there has not been any added. We got the 12 still, class A's, but we're down to 7 on, the actual micro businesses.
Yeah, it's a rough
shame. Yep, but a total of 2,268 licenses between all of the different categories: growers, processors, retailers, transporters, even as consumption establishments. We don't have any temporary marijuana events now, though.
But those are temporary licenses.
Yeah, but
so they're like 1 month license, right?
No one's celebrating Croptober. What's happening?
That's true.
We always used to have a ton of events around this time.
I know.
Processing time doesn't really matter, but There you go.
I
Action
haven't
staking is
looked too
always
deep
fun.
into the event license. I'm assuming it's going to be just as restrictive as the other licenses.
Well, that's why we see so few of them. It's because
Yeah.
it's not really a whole lot to do with it, you know.
All right, how about now?
Warnings.
Yeah, a lot better.
Nice.
You got your you
nice.
got your mic back.
I had to disable a bunch of other things like my cameras and shit in order for it to work.
Well,
good old Windows
got
just
your
picking
back.
what it wants, right?
Yeah. So revenue expenses. This is kind of an interesting one. Application fees, they raked in over $100,000 in 1 month. Regulatory assessment fees, they raked in almost $500,000.
Jeez.
Renewal fees over almost $3.5 million. And their total licensing revenue collected was over $4 million. The cool thing is you can see the employee wages, the benefits, the materials and equipment. So their total expenses was $2.4 million. They're doing pretty good, guys.
There's a surplus.
$1.6 million in 1 month in a surplus. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's a winning business model right there.
Yeah, what are we doing with it though? Otherwise, we're gonna just start being mafioso shit with it. Like,
did they have?
Give it back.
I didn't actually look into that. What is the mandated use of their budget overages?
I don't know that specifically, but I do know that they have reduced licensing costs and fees and stuff like that based on the fact that they are making money. So it's good to see that they're doing
to a point.
Sure, yeah. It's trickle down economics. Yeah. Yeah, in a way. What else? That's kind of,
gosh, that opted out number is still so flipping.
Oh yeah, that's important because that's that's always a 10 to 1 pretty much. So 139 municipalities have opted in. So that means out of that have opted in or out, about 1,500 of them, there's just over 100 of them have opted in. And so there's one for every one municipality, which is like a city, a township, some form of geographical government area. If for every one of those that has opted in and decided that they were going to have a dispensary or grow a micro business, whatever it might be, there's 10 of them that said they don't want anything to do with it. And that really, that plays into the economics of the whole situation big time. It plays into the access that people have to the medicine, and whether or not that means driving or walking maybe 2 minutes or driving 2 hours, that's it happens. So home deliveries, we see that there are 353 that are retailers that are approved for home delivery. So it's kind of cool, but total of almost 39,000 employees. And that's about the end of that report. We can break it down by area and really get into pricing and all that stuff, but just know that this area is all the money.
Yeah. Well, I was searching around. I saw Marcus Bubbleman announced his Michigan drops, and so I was looking around here, but unfortunately, it's a few hour drive for me to go. But definitely going to be picking up some of his goodies.
Wait, a few hour drive? Like how many few hours?
Petoskey.
Wait, he's gonna be in Petoskey? Hold on.
No, not him. His drop, his cold cure. He's got cold cure rosin.
Oh, well, maybe I'll make a drive for it. Pick it up.
I'm sure it'll be even closer to you. You'll have places you can get it. There's just nowhere in the UP you can buy.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So I have to go to the Lower Peninsula to find some.
I thought this was like a secret drop or something. I had to
No, it's he posted it last week. Some pretty cool flavors, some good flavors, beautiful product, of course, expecting it with his SOPs, right? Working with a good group here. I think he's found some good people to work with. And so it's always fun to, I know what mine tastes like, and I know what Pedro's and yours, and it's just always fun to try all our friends.
Yeah, 100%. Pedro, I gotta ask, man, what do you think is gonna happen in Michigan if we've got almost 2 million pounds worth of fresh frozen sitting in freezers right now, ready to be processed, knowing that, BHO is all but dead other than for distillate, furthering it to distillate for edibles and whatnot, maybe carts. And knowing also that there's been, this summer there was plans to build some pretty sizable washing labs in Michigan in preparation for this outdoor harvest. How do you think this is going to affect the market here in Michigan with rosin specifically? I'd like both your guys' answers, but I want to hear Pedro first because he's kind of jumping in on this after we've been discussing it for a while, I guess.
Well, all I can think of is the obvious that prices are going to drop like drastically, and companies without the capital are going to face, going under. And then kind of like the Colorado market being bought up by the big companies in order to kind of monopolize and level it out, so to speak.
Consolidation.
Yep.
You've got to have the right SOPs and be able to run lean to make your ROI.
Yeah, talk about penny pinching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it goes back to one of my
true.
first corporate jobs was in grocery, and it's known as a fractional penny game. Everything that we were selling would make fractions of a penny. A case of peas, we would make 3 cents on the entire case type of deal. And it's going to get to that point where you're going to have the processes in place and be able to just crank out product. But it's tough because it's an art, like we know. There's labor involved.
Well, some of it's art.
Floor.
I want to talk about this, what Spartan just said. Processing it and storing it for full federal legalization, you have to start thinking with your business mind. I've thought about that. I thought about that 5-6 years ago with a lot of great business minds. And the concept was that once we have full federal legalization, there won't just be intrastate commerce, but there will be interstate commerce. And once that stuff starts getting imported, whatever you're producing here is going to be worth dog shit because you're going to be paying way more than other countries are to produce it. And they're going to be able to import it at a significantly cheaper price than you are. Now, that doesn't mean you won't be able to capitalize on it right away. But what about all that distillate that is, assuming it's distillate, that's sitting there degrading? Because guess what? Distillate doesn't stay at 99%. And come a year from now, it's going to be at whatever, 80, 70%. I don't know the actual rates on that. I'd have to look it up. But it does degrade. And I'm sure there's things you can do to slow that down and maybe, stop maybe even that process. But sitting on it, it's not going to be worth more in the future. So I don't know why. I don't know.
And that's
I don't really know the
play there. Because you don't know, I want to say when, but if federally, right. But
could be more than 4 years from now. It could be tomorrow. I don't know.
That window is scary, but also what do they do when you go legal? Do they force new rules in place that forces fresh?
At the federal level, they could. Here's the thing: they could just say, "Yeah, leave it up to the states," and the states could decide. But if they don't have a federal program in place, you're not crossing state lines with it. You know what I mean? They have to federally legalize it and put those rules in place. Once that happens, I think it's over. It's like it's over for everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like when we went from medical to rec here, right? You weren't sitting on it in the medical hoping to sell it in the rec market. So it feels like when we go federally legal, are they going to just say, well, everything you have, you can just sell legally now? Or are they going to say, well, now we have a framework in place so people can start getting licenses and rolling? Is it going to be a slow rollout, a fast rollout?
It's going to be slow, just like it's been in the States. I mean, it takes 4 years for each state to kind of shake things out. And then it's like another 6 after that to kind of figure it out. Mm-hmm. And so it's like a 10-year slow roll for a market to get settled into it. Each individual state, it feels like, might be shorter or longer depending on when they jumped in and their vicinity to other states that have been in on it for longer or whatever. But I think Ohio, they just jumped in on it 4 months ago, something like that, and their market's already kind of like a little shaky right now, from what I understand. So,
before I jump to the next one, I don't know that there would be anything less than what's showing because it's so regulated, right? You're off.
Okay, so that's what's been recorded,
right?
Yes. How much has gone out behind the scenes? I bet it was just as much as we see recorded. If I'm honest with you, I bet you there's just as much going out.
The numbers recorded, though, are physically there.
For sure. Yeah, that exists somewhere.
It's not like you're not reporting it and then there's 1,000 pounds missing.
I mean, I'm sure it can happen, but no, I don't think you'd want to do that.
Right. I'm assuming that's where those violations come from. You know?
Yeah.
Usually it's from under markets, though, isn't it? I think I saw it on X. I think it was, is it Virginia that's been legal for so many years and still has no dispensaries set up? There's one of the states.
I'm not sure if it's Virginia, but I'm not familiar with any dispos there.
So VA is nope. Not Virginia. It's one of the states over there, though.
Is it like, it's not Mass or New Hampshire or something like that? No, because Mass has dispos. Somewhere northeast, maybe. I don't know. Each state, they get the option to kind of create
Virginia
their own
is the
rules.
only state where recreational cannabis is legal, but commercial distribution is not.
Okay. So they're scared of the economics of it, which is silly because it's like you see these states. I mean, you see the CRA making $1.5 million a month. You see them selling $350 million worth of weed a month. Like
there's a small town out in Colorado. I want to say it's by Breckenridge. Is that the right?
Yeah.
There's a small town somewhere in Colorado that early in Colorado's market, they said, you know what? Yes, we will take dispensaries. And they've used the tax dollars and it more than doubled their tax roll because they're a small town. So all of a sudden the dispensaries are providing 50, 60, 70% of their tax revenue. And they were using the money then for beautification and street projects. It just makes no sense for some small areas to not jump on board. That's what's so surprising with the 10-1 yes versus no.
I mean, yeah, but usually those small rural areas are guided by people that grew up in an era that is not very accepting of this, and it's just a cultural difference. And
I was surprised up here at the acceptance. Very surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, it was we had one person against me. That was it. So, and that was just old lady with, I don't want potheads breaking in my house to steal my stereo. And we're like, it's not heroin and crack. Like that you got the
someone
wrong
grew up in New York in the 90s or 80s or whatever.
Yeah, no, she was afraid of people stealing her stuff for drug money.
Yeah. I don't think having one dispo in a town in the middle of the UP is gonna bring the ruckus that she thinks. I think that ruckus is probably already there,
Yeah. Well, there's enough problems around us. We don't need UP's got its fair share of drug issues.
Really? What are the drugs? Is it just alcohol? Is it
meth? It's alcohol and meth.
Yeah, it's Michigan's flavors right there, man. Fuck.
It's you get out into some of the more rural areas and some the reservations up here, you just get some bad times.
And every reservation you'll find a loom on.
Yeah, that's true. Just about every single one. They work the system.
Yeah, I mean that's I mean, in terms of business acumen, if we want to go down that road, I mean, it's the Bell Tire guy. You know what I mean? He's obviously it's been successful at what he does, and just moved it to the game.
When up here, Sault Ste. Marie initially blocked dispensaries, and so Lume, of course, went right to the res, and they bought property that was in the middle of the Sioux, basically, that was owned by the Indians, and then they leased it to Lume, and then Lume was on. So then Lume's got prime real estate, and the city can't do anything, so they just reversed their policy because it was unfair.
Yeah, because now you got a monopoly given to this fucking not MSO, but you know what I mean, like one of the bigger.
Yeah, no, I mean they're a monster. There's no two ways around it. But
what didn't they close down a few shops though a couple years ago?
Well, the smart way though,
right? And that's what I'm saying. Like at the time, it was like, oh fuck, what's going on? You know, and then now it's like, oh yeah, that was just smart business. That's what
it's just bad ROI in an area, so you close it down.
Fucking AutoZone's closing 700 stores. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason for that. And
when I worked in grocery down in San Antonio, we had at one point 35 HEBs in San Antonio alone.
Jeez.
And now there's more than that. But they monopolized and ran every grocery store out of Texas. Yeah. And they did it by running their own construction company so they could build their stores cheaper, running everything themselves. They vertically integrated top to bottom, saved pennies.
It's the vertical integration, as long as you're not competing with your own customers along that vertical integration. And this is like a multi-decade long struggle I've had in my own head, because if you can monopolize that vertical integration to the point at which you don't need those customers, I don't know at what point you have to get to make that happen, but like it seems like that's not an impossibility, and it seems like that's what some of these bigger, I don't know, I want to say conglomerate, but like corporations do. You got to throw ethics and sympathy and a lot of these things out the window to do something like that. But I mean, we all know vertical integration is a great way of saving money, controlling your logistical chain, bringing things faster to market. Like there's a lot of advantages to that. It's just, who are you swallowing up along the way?
I mean, it seems ruthless, but at the same time, like the business I built today that I make my money on, I'm completely vertically integrated. Nobody else in my industry is vertically integrated, and everybody wants my technology, but I won't sell it to them. And I don't have to. I just use it for myself. Like, some people would look at that as like, oh, that's anti-competitive type, but I built it. Like,
right. It's not like something you found or you.
Right. I didn't go steal somebody else's stuff and buy their company. Like I built all of the pieces. They're just separate. So, but that's what makes us successful. I mean, I can complete a finished product shipped out the door, all costs, labor, everything included, cheaper than my competitors can buy the blank product for.
And I remember that being an issue in our family business. There was a certain point at which Home Depot could sell products cheaper than we could buy them for from the manufacturer, right? Because there's a certain level of bulk discount, right? And now it's like a certain level of, you can't even access the product unless you're buying it at a certain bulk level.
Yeah, you have to buy.
You're not even getting a discount. You're just, you have to commit $40, $50, $60,000. Canna Nutrients used to do this. You got to buy $50,000 worth of nutrients on your first fucking order, and you got to be nowhere near, 30 plus miles away from anyone else that's selling Canna to be able to even put our shit on your shelves.
There's also there's a methodology behind that as well, though. That is,
what is it? Big Fish, Little Pond, or something like that.
Yeah, you price yourself as a premium product, and it's a perception of being a premium product.
Mm-hmm.
This came up all the time when we worked at Fathead, right? Our stickers were $100, and everyone's like, "It's a sticker." No, it's not a sticker. It's a Fathead.
It's wall art,
right? And it's wall art. It's a wall graphic. You know,
Yeah.
we rebranded things, and if people called it a sticker, it's worth $20.
right?
You call it a
right.
Fathead, it's worth $100.
Mhm.
And it was interesting to see that shift.
That's the marketing side of things, where it's just like, you're not wrong, but god damn it, like it doesn't make it worth that much.
But that's why Canna's doing it. I mean, we do the same, like they consider it what's called an MOQ, right? Your minimum order quantity.
Mm-hmm.
And putting that on there, it's like, if to work with me, you have to put some skin in the game type of deal. That's what Canna's saying.
Yeah. Which is fine, but like if you're hurting your consumer ultimately, and that's where I started to see it. It's like, nah, man, like I wanted to run Canna, and now I don't really have access to Canna. So now I gotta go find something else. Like, fuck you.
Well,
like I'm not.
There's a reason I'm not running Canna, right?
Right.
It's
right.
because of the cost, and because when you do the nutrient breakdown, I'm identical, and I'm not paying for water.
Yeah.
So you gotta love Green Gene. I mean, if he's broken down every nutrient line out there and what their breakdowns are of NPK and all their micros and everything. He has a whole spreadsheet for it. That's incredible.
Is that based on what they list? Because obviously they don't have to list everything, and it's kind of like supplements sometimes, right? Where it's like,
there's certain things I think he
HGH in
doesn't
this?
know, but most of it I think he's been able to determine.
Okay.
Basically because there's only so many inputs, right? Everyone's using the same basic shit unless you're making your own. Like Jax, a lot of times Jax is unique because Jax makes a lot of their own.
Well, that's what I was seeing. Like Mammoth P, who apparently has some like proprietary microbe. You know what I mean? Like years ago we broke that down, but like
right. That's a little different though when you're trying to hide stuff. It's a little harder when you're talking nutrients. When your main things are your NPKs.
Yeah.
And then your micros. And how many micros do we really care about?
You're putting me on the spot, but I'm gonna say a dozen or less.
Around there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know off the top of my head. I know the spreadsheet has 20 freaking columns in it though. So
yeah.
And he's gone out to there's the I'm gonna forget the website name now, where you can buy individual pieces of hydronutrients, the individual parts, and it's dirt cheap.
Like the raw nutrients or whatever.
I'm sorry?
Like the raw nutrients or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so like you can actually pick, and we've talked with Monster Mash on the show before, and he's done this before with thinking what we change at the end now.
I don't follow.
It's one of the sulfates that we switch out for the to finish. Drop nitrogen. On the spot.
I don't know what he's doing, but he shouldn't do it.
Just dabbing. I'm on another planet right now.
You're still with us, though.
I'm listening, kind of.
What the fuck you about to dab right now?
Like I was typing in chat, it's yeah, exactly, unmarked jar, rubbed off,
something fruity,
something
I mean, it sounds good to me.
It's old.
Ooh, speaking of jars, I'll have this tomorrow. Oop, that's not even close to the right side up, but there we go. There's some juicy lime skunk.
Don't tip her too long.
It's all right. I'll lick it off the floor if I have to.
Drip it on your keyboard or something.
Dude, this keyboard's a mess. I might need a new one soon just because of how sticky it is. And it's from the Terps, everybody. Jeez. Relax.
I know. I have little drips because my dab tools go straight in front of me. And so every time you go over the keyboard and I'm like, go to type, right on the end of the finger. And
Do you have a like a full like a desk size mouse pad? Do you have one of those?
I do. It's
Is that thing absolutely destroyed right now?
no.
No?
It cleans up really well. And I mean, I'm a smoker too, so I'm getting ashes all over it. And
I have shout out Mazu Potts, Mrs. Ferroli. I have a brand new one that I've been sitting on for like about a year now, I think, because I'm too afraid to put it down and get it dirty. There's so much wax all over this desk.
I have the LG one that has the RGB around it, and it's got the two-sided, so you can flip it. So it can be cloth or it can be hard.
Okay.
I like the cloth side because I don't like the edged lip, the plastic lip. It'll catch your wrist when you're typing. And when you sit at a computer as long as I do, it's not a fun.
No.
Rub your wrist all raw by the end of the day.
Nice and shaved. Yeah, that's lime skunk.
But no, they clean up really good though. I don't think you'd have a problem cleaning it. Just a little wet cloth.
A little ISO 70 cloth.
I'm really surprised. I'm thinking I'm trying to look around and see if I see like a drip that I've not been able to clean off of this thing, but I don't.
I just have areas I need to get to. Pedro, what do you got going on in the old work life lately? You got any fun projects or new things you guys are working on at the lab or anything like that you want to talk about? After he's done talking about the dab?
Yeah, first of all, you caught me on that dab. Nothing but quantity right now. Eden is kind of blowing up in the market and trying to fulfill the edibles and the carts and the joints. It's just
all the convenience.
Yeah, I'm usually going in 3 days a week, and I've been up to 5 days a week for the last I don't know, a couple of weeks. And it's guys talking about a drive. It's a 2-hour drive one way for me.
Oh shit! Are you serious, dude?
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. But I mean,
that's a lot.
We're pressing about 2,400 grams of hash every day, and producing, whatever it produces. We press for different reasons, obviously, for our edibles, for our joints, for batter, for carts. We kind of keep things separately. And talk about variables.
Mm-hmm. I've got a question for you. Oh, go ahead, Pedro.
No, go ahead, please.
Well, I'm about to do this dab, so I'm going to ask you guys the question. Then you have to respond because I'm going to be coughing my lungs out over here. Is two questions. This is a two-parter. Is chlorophyll a terpene, and are anthocyanins anything more than pigments? So let's go with the first one. Is chlorophyll a terpene?
To the best of my knowledge, no. But I am not a chemist by any means.
Right? That's what I said. I'm like, I had Bio 201. I fucking hate Latin. Like,
by definition, I don't think it's a terpene.
Right. But do you feel like as a smoker, you could taste chlorophyll? That's for you, Pedro.
I don't know. I was over here Googling shit because I really don't know. The only chlorophyll that I believe that I smoke was when I smoke flower, because for the most part, it's already washed out of the product, that we've produced. So I don't know. When I smoke flower, I taste burnt flour and a little bit of flavor, honestly. It's just kind of how smooth it is as to whether or not I like it.
And that smoothness kind of attributes to whether or not you feel like it might have that chlorophyll taste, probably though, right? Like, do you think the harvesting or the drying or anything like that?
That and just the combustion of the flower, you know.
Oh, okay. So just the fact that it's flour.
So it's interesting. It's actually a terpenoid.
A flavonoid or a terpenoid?
A terpenoid.
That's funny. I literally just got done typing in the question, so
yeah,
you're way better. You're way better, Jamie, tonight than I am.
You said you were Googling it and then started talking, so I Googled it for you.
There you go. Teamwork makes the dream work, guys.
But it's because of the pigment.
So it's really just a pigment. It's just a color.
You're muted for Grawley.
Is that what?
Gosh darn it! That's why I asked about. Thank you, by the way. That's why I asked about anthocyanins too, because is that just a pigment? You know, like are pigments giving us flavor? Are we getting flavor from a byproduct that is a pigment? Like what's happening here?
My initial thought was it would be a flavonoid more than a terpenoid. That's an interesting one to me.
Because I think anthocyanins are technically a flavonoid, but they're also really just a byproduct, or they're really just a pigment.
Yeah, I was going to say they're more of a pigment for sure.
But here's the thing. Different plants react differently to these things too. So chlorophyll, photosynthesis, right? Those things kind of go hand in hand. Is anthocyanins does that help photosynthesis? Does it hurt photosynthesis? Is it a byproduct of photosynthesis? If you start researching these things, you find out that it's different. It could fucking apples and weed and the oranges, they're all different. It's not the same across each one. So I don't know. Maybe that was more of a rhetorical question, but it still remains like I don't know how to.
It's a good question. Things. It's one that I'm not prepared to answer tonight.
Yeah, dog. I took more business classes than I did science classes, so I don't know.
It's a good.
No, very good question. Yeah, absolutely good rabbit hole.
Because I mean, we know what is it? The anthocyanin. See, I just took a dab, and I'm
anthocyanins.
Yeah. What is it? Is it anti-inflammatory? What's their? I forget now.
I believe it is. Yes.
Yeah, that's. Oh, man, Google is getting good. I typed ANT and it knew that I was trying
listening
to
you. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got probably 7 devices in that room that it's just predicting now at this point what you're going to
7. I got 7 devices
70
in front of me.
Yeah. So are we going to call it anthocyanin coughs?
Sure. We can call them chlorophyll coughs.
Actually, that flows way better, bro.
Yeah, that's a much better flow. I don't know, but it seems that it's gotten a lot hotter in my room in the past 10 minutes.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. But I have been, if you guys have noticed, I've been smoking some flower over here. My outdoor harvest this year, I put a hanger aside for some flower and cured it up. And my God, have I been enjoying it.
That's nice. It's always nice to try it again. And
I've been getting ridiculously stoned. What
strain you got?
Primal Punch.
Nice, dude.
What's one of my better washers, actually.
I believe it, man. That one's a dumper. You got like what's the phenol-lean in terms of like flavor profile?
Fruit, almost overripe fruit, not quite fermented.
Okay. Nice.
But very heavy fruit. When it goes through phases when it's growing, it gets like extremely grapey as it's growing, and then as it's maturing, it gets to that overripe kind of flavor. Like I said, not quite fermented, but there you go. That's funny because I got these beans from Med Grower, and he's been watching me grow it out, and he actually hit me up and asked me if he could have a cut of it back.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, hell yeah. Dude, I have so many effing seeds back here.
I know, me too.
Just with my start over and everything over here, trying to go through the process of a pheno hunt is just a very daunting thought.
Yeah.
I've been crippling along over here. I don't even have a proper cold room yet. I bought that low temp setup, the mini it's called the Mini Osprey, and the stainless steel recirc and everything. So I'm pretty stoked to try that out. Very stoked.
Yeah, I've got one more project outside to finish, and then snow's coming here like Monday.
We've had snow already here.
Yeah. You guys get snow early compared to us. That's
sometimes
crazy.
Depends on. I mean, we're in a valley here, basically. You know, so
I keep thinking that you were on a plateau, but you go up to the plateau.
Yeah, we're kind of literally a valley. There's 270 degrees around us is all mountains.
Okay.
And then as you go northwest, it goes into flat desert.
Bowls like that do some crazy shit with weather, man.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So no, we'll be into snow here, and then as long as I get my outdoor projects done this weekend, I am back on. I'm like, okay, it's time to wash again.
Now, mind you, it was 55 today.
Jeez.
Yeah, so like they come and go, and it's funny. We don't get the snow that you guys get back there. Mm-hmm. We'll get, man, if we get 2 inches of snow, we got a lot of snow, you know. And we had just a dusting the other day, and the plows were out. It was ridiculous. I'm like,
we'll probably have a good winter this year with the way everything looks, and just I hope we have a good winter. Last winter sucked, so we need a good tourist winter.
Like a heavy snow?
Yeah, keep the town afloat, you know. Got to have the tourists all year round.
We've got Telluride for that. Talk about tourists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm ready to wash again. So that'll be and then I'm going to pick out what my next run's going to be. I've got one run I need to run for Vader, and then I want to run I've still got a lot of subcool strains. So I want to work my way through some of the subcool stuff.
I've got a freezer full of fresh frozen, well, half full.
Yeah.
So I've got to get my washroom built before and I've got a harvest coming up in a week or two.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've got
I mean, not a huge harvest because, again, starting over.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got to do to build your washroom? What is that going to take?
Oh, my God. I want to jump into that.
Yeah, I do.
Do you have a room already picked out?
No, I have to build a room.
Okay. So that's the hardest part, right?
Yeah, I have to build a room in a room, and then I've got to. It's in the basement, so my air conditioner is going to go in a casement window. I've got to wire over. I'm not an electrician, but I got to wire over a couple outlets.
Breakers. Okay.
Oh yeah, I have to plumb water, RO water in. Insulation, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then trying to make sure it's large enough. And it's a room inside a room. So trying to make sure it's large enough, but small enough to not just be crazy, you know?
Yeah, well, that's the thing with one of those, like a washroom. You want to be big enough where you can like move around, you have the workflow and all that, but you still have to like keep it a certain temperature and everything. Like the environmental controls are more important than your comfort, really, you know. So it's like at a certain point you might have to sacrifice.
Smaller rooms are much easier to keep cold.
Yeah,
the houses that we have in this neighborhood have extremely narrow garages, and a lot of them are just closed off because you can't use them. You know, I don't know why they did that back in the day. But I was going to put it out there which would have been a little more ideal, at least partially, for temperature control. But plumbing water into the garage, kind of became a real big concern, real big issue.
Yeah, it's a detached garage.
No, it's an attached garage, but the garage is not insulated itself.
Okay, well that's not as bad.
So I suppose you could insulate the garage.
I mean, you could put RO in the house and then literally just run a 1/4-inch line through a tiny little asshole into the garage. That's all you need.
And they're done that.
Yep, I know.
But I just didn't want it to freeze and getting water in there, and
you'd have to.
It's not still an option.
Mm-hmm.
I bought lumber. I've got the entire Mini Osprey research system. God, that was expensive.
Yeah,
but I wanted to go all stainless. I was tired of the plastic.
Yeah,
I'm stainless changed my whole system, man.
We talked about it already once on the show. Stainless is a big,
the thermal connectivity and how long it'll hold that temperature. Once you get that stainless cold, it acts as a cooling mechanism for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so nice, man.
The Mini itself is not insulated. It doesn't have that double wall.
Right. Doesn't it have it has the pad wrap though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So as long as you got the jacket, I mean,
as long as your room's cold enough, does it really matter?
Right. Well, it depends. Like, if you want your water 32 degrees, if your room's 32 degrees, yeah, that's cool. But if your room's 40 degrees, you want the jacket.
True.
There's still a temperature differential there, so it doesn't take much to hold that cold, which is what I was really surprised by.
That's why the stainless is nice.
Yeah, once you get that cold, like I am not using a large chiller. My recirculation system is janky as all hell. I mean, it's basically based on beer brewers and how they crash beer. Same exact system. And I've wrapped PEX all the way around my damn system and I pump chilled glycol through it. And my system's cold. So that stainless, it does most of the work for you. So it doesn't take much temperature to keep it.
Yeah, I don't know if it comes with it standard, but they sent me one. And I'm probably going to hook up with Pele Polaire and have them make me a custom one as well. Just because
I still need to reach back out to him. I still need to get my big reservoir. That's an expensive jacket, though.
Let's get him on the show. I know he wanted to come back.
He does want to come back, actually. Terp Wars just happened, just ended. So he'd probably be down for it in a week or two.
Shout out Michigan, fucking taking the win, huh?
Dude, that was a fun judging. For me, it was a lot because I give a lot to judging. I give an hour. The entire jar. I smoke in an hour, and it just becomes, if you do 31 samples 1 hour, and he requests that you do them live, and I'm a single parent, and you're supposed to do it over 28 days. Just do the math.
You got some double ups.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun one. There was a lot of really good ones. The honest part about it is the shitty part about going into a competition like or judging like that is you are potentially going to smoke some not good product. You're opening your lungs to who knows what. And I found that out in some of the samples. There was a pretty big difference between bottom and top.
Cheers,
some
brother.
some of them were I questioned why they were entered.
Oh, really?
Oh,
well, how many times have you judged this before?
This is my second or third time.
Were you surprised more this time than you were in the past about that specific fact?
Say that again.
Are you surprised? Did that surprise you more this time than it has in the past?
No, not really. But there were more top end, if you will,
Okay.
entries this year.
Okay.
The pool of poop was a lot smaller. But again, you got to try the poop.
Yeah, you got to do it.
You got to judge the poop. So being a judge, it's there.
How do you spend an hour on that?
Oh, it's hard, dude.
Yeah, man. Why? Like that's here's my thing. My thing would be based on the amount of time I'm smoking it. I'll give it up to an hour. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm out in the first 30 seconds, I mean, that tells you what the fuck's going on there. Like,
yeah, if I get a smear on my banger after the first one, I don't want to keep going. You know.
Well, it's fun because doing an hour, there were literally 2 of them where I was live, and I had to just mute and run, and go poop.
Oh,
it was
right
yeah.
through you.
And I have it written on the scorecards over here. I don't know which numbers they are. I wrote down all of them because
Better than
the scorecards go back to the person that entered it, so they get to see Pedro and all of his notes. So I just
nice.
Anything that happened within that hour, if I was giggly, if I was anxious, if I was in the couch or in the chair, if I had to go poop, I wrote it all down. So kind of comical watching some of them.
That was for Terp Wars?
Yes, Terp Wars.
From Pele.
The IG page is too long for me to remember. If you search Pele Polaire, you can link to it from there.
Yeah, it's all over his. Definitely, it's PELLE POLARE, Pele Polaire.
Been seeing folks slowly filtering over to X as their accounts are getting nuked quite rapidly on Instagram the past couple weeks.
Oh, really? That's been an issue, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
And larger accounts too, even this time.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have any examples?
Well, Shark Mouse got his nuked at 90K. Was it Burner finally got his nuked? There was 2 or 3 others, large accounts that have all. But yeah, it's like they're on a rampage. So people have finally realized, like, hey, if you build it over here, people are making actual money. Ad sharing works even if you do have cannabis content.
Yeah. Wasn't Twitch like that for a minute?
Twitch doesn't mind. You just have to be cautious. Like
okay.
Cupins is a Twitch partner.
Right.
So
I mean, I wish I could tell you, Doggo. Every time I try to live stream the X now, they tell me I need a premium account or something. So
yeah, it's a lot different. And it feels still in flux. They're still learning, still figuring it out.
Well, I mean, it was a 140 character platform for how many years? You know what I mean? Now we're trying to do like live streams and these.
Well, what was funny is when Elon bought it and he's like, wait a minute, you guys bought Vine and then shut it down. Where is that? And they're like, oh, it's still here. He's like, turn that shit back on.
Yeah.
So they did. It's just so
wait,
funny.
am I behind? Is this the Doggo?
Yeah.
Really? Like you're not fucking with me? Because I'm
no 100%.
Now 4 glasses of wine in, bunch of dabs and a flower. Wow.
Yeah, I saw the logo. I've still got the patch.
Well, hello, sir.
Yeah, when you coming on the show, man?
I don't know when
Yeah, we got to get
the
you
last
on. You're
time
one of
I've
the-
actually had a conversation or touched base with him. Just disappeared there for a while. Somebody mentioned a couple weeks ago that he was back. I saw the name a little while ago, and I was like, "Really?"
Yeah, he was building a greenhouse and stuff, and he's not been totally non-existent, but yeah, there you
Dude,
go.
I would love to have him back on the show.
Yeah,
Or
me
on
too.
the show.
Put 4 pairs of Method 7s on and let's do it.
Bro, I just got. Did I bring him
We
down?
can blur you and put the hacker voice on.
Yeah. Put the silhouette behind him.
Oh, there we go.
Silhouette. Yeah.
I'm
You
gonna.
like you're in witness protection, man.
What time we got? 10:30. I'll let it out. So these are the Resistance 2 lenses or frames that Method 7 sent me. Obviously, they wanted me to wear them on the show because of you, but it kind of felt weird. But anyways, they're the FX2 frames, which are like more fingerprint resistant and like trichome sticky oil resistant. But if I like them, we're talking about doing a release of a collab between me and Method 7.
Oh yeah,
So,
man.
Doing a
What
custom design, and
what color frames would you go with?
that's going too deep.
Ah!
Yeah, I want to tease.
Well, tease me a little better, bro. I'm just.
They're going to be obviously like rosin related, so some kind of either trichome or oil or
definitely going to be a 50 micron screen just printed across the side of it.
it'll be kind of cool. And I'm thinking about getting another order of the blenders, the custom blenders that I have with Victory Port or Victory Glassworks. So I'm kind of trying to do an inventory on how many people want some. I think I've got like 30 or 40 of them sold already.
Nice.
Like before I've even made the order. Once I move to this blender, I hit it 90% of the time. I don't hit very many buckets or anything besides this blender.
I'm just stuck on my same old like little round bottoms. They work for me. I find all the others it's too much to clean. Like I end up destroying them faster, I feel like.
Cleaning is a problem. They're not a travel piece.
Right.
By any means. So traveling round bottom.
Have you guys heard about this new fandangled thing called an e-nail? This e-nail coil will stay heated and heat up your banger, and you don't have to worry about
how does that do?
Or how you want to take a dab, you just take a dab.
How's that do for traveling?
It doesn't, but you know what does? The Puffco Peak. The Puffco Peak Pro is an excellent choice for traveling. It fits in a cup holder. It's battery operated. It'll take a couple dabs at a time. Take you to the sky, take you to the moon, take you wherever you want to go.
Would the Puffco survive my side-by-side? That's the real question.
Now, if you've got a side-by-side, you're gonna.
How much did you get paid for that?
You're gonna want to take a drill and you're gonna want to attach it to something.
I need a Puffco seatbelt for my center console.
Oh, never mind. I was just going to put a dab tool in my drill, but I feel like that might be a bad idea. We might be regretting that later.
And to all the viewers, do not consume and drive. We are not condoning. We're just joking.
Oh, no.
Hey, it fits in a cup holder. That cup holder could be on your camping chair, okay? It doesn't mean it's in your...
Well, yeah, you're going camping, and it's cold, so you want to jump in your car, and you're not going anywhere except back to your campsite. So the cup holder is a nice, convenient place to put it.
I was just thinking about the cup holder that's on top of your cooler. Just that little.
Oh yeah.
Pedro just keeps wanting to drive with a Puffco for some reason.
I didn't. What is this? What is this here?
Pedro's sue the crap.
Interesting.
Oh, guess there's a
or whatever podcast.
I've actually considered rebirthing, if you will, the whatever show, but I don't know if I feel like I have full rights to it because it was, me and Dizzy at the time. So I don't know. Been considering it, but I didn't know that.
Apparently, there's one with 4.4 million subscribers called whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah, mine was the whatever show. So
I'm not sure, but did you guys see my private chat up there?
Lost it. There we go.
You really think I look at that stuff?
I know you don't. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
So what do we think? Rosin crash market in Michigan?
I mean, doesn't
the price is going down even more. For sure.
Do you think it's going to affect the legacy market?
Good question. My initial thought is no. At least not as significantly. But yeah, good question.
How could it not, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, when you're talking like, hey, I got my guy, and I've been going to my guy for 10 years, and
even if it's 6 months, I don't think that matters, honestly, at this point.
But all of a sudden, it might not be as good a quality, but I get it at a fifth the price. That's where the economics of it just outweighs for
and that place is a mile down the street, and it's open from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. fucking 7 days a week. Like, they're handing out stupid free pre-rolls. Those are gonna make me sick, but I'm still gonna smoke them. Like,
I just saw the video, excuse me, of The Simpsons where when they legalized on The Simpsons, and what's the school bus driver's name? He goes in and he's trying to buy at the dispenser, and he's like, "Hey, I want to."
Yes.
And the guy's like, "So, do you want a couch buzz or do you want this?" And he's like, "I just want some swag, man." And so they take him to a back room, and it's like Homer sitting on a couch and stinky room with a bird, and gives him a bag that's half full of stems and seeds.
Yeah,
and
it's all seeds and stems.
Yes.
Yeah, Otto. Yeah, I saw that too. That was such a good scene. Oh, it's so funny. Because it's like there's like this weird nostalgia that we're gonna end up missing, I think, here.
Oh, that's interesting, doggo. So, I mean,
the same thing happened right there, though. Same thing. I mean, the 3 out of the 4 closest grow stores to me closed. I know that Spartan and the Spartan and Bake's closest grow store to them, or the one I think they were relying on, closed. Like, this is happening all over, and I don't think it's just. I mean, I'm sure the lack of people growing on an individual level at home has some effect. I think the bigger effect is the fact that the purchasing has gone from the grow stores to Hawthorne and straight to the distributor level.
Well, not just that; it's also going to your normal garden stores now.
That's if you go back down to the consumer level, they don't have to rely on the hydro store,
right?
Because they can either get it from the regular grocery store, which is carrying a lot of the same products nowadays, or fucking Amazon or anywhere online where you can get any of this stuff. Like, it's
it wasn't. Oh, go ahead.
On the commercial market here in Colorado, again, commercial versus legacy are completely different conversations, but sales are great. Sales are through the roof. The problem that we're having, or that people are having, is collecting invoices.
That's a lot of businesses.
There's so many sales that just aren't getting paid. And then what ends up happening is what I was alluding to earlier in the show, the monopolies, where the big companies that do have the capital will then purchase that brand and run it because they know that they're selling well. They just don't have some of these companies just don't have the capital to wait for the collection of the invoices.
It's the new tech industry. You got to have deep pockets to survive some of this shit.
And
these waves,
And that's where I was talking.
Tech works too, though. I mean, you see net 30, net 60, net 90 terms on everything, and every single company will push it to the very last fucking minute and then push it beyond because having that money a little extra couple weeks, like
it's payroll. It's fucking payroll. You know what I mean?
It's a game every company plays in the tech, and I swear. We deal with it constantly. We have an entire team that chases invoices. That's
accounts receivables, pay up, baby.
But that's right,
gentlemen.
I had a friend of mine though, about 5 years ago, call me and wanted to purchase our local hydro store. Buddy was older gentleman, was selling it. He's like, "Look, I just want to get rid of it. I'm done." And he was just getting out of growing and was like, "Dude, I think it's my thing. I'm going to jump from growing into the hydro store." He told me what comes with it, all the inventory, all the debt, the building, that type of stuff. And we did the numbers. And I'm like, "No, it doesn't make sense. Don't do it." And he didn't. And now a year and a half later, it closed because business had dropped so much. And he's like, "Gosh, thank God I didn't buy in. I would have just been screwed." So it's scary.
Dago, we need to get you on the show because these questions you're posing do have answers, and I would love to get to them.
Agreed.
Hopefully we can get you on here soon, brother, maybe before the end of the year.
Awesome.
That's gonna be the show for tonight. Appreciate everybody joining. You guys want to plug anything before we go? I'll jump on it. I'll plug it. Third Eye Craft Fair tomorrow. Come get your lime skunk turp cookies. What's up, gang?
Gotta send me a cookie.
I got nothing.
I'll deliver it, hand delivered. I'll meet you at Petoskey.
There we go.
Think about me as you're falling asleep. That's what I want to say.
Oh, I love you too. You guys have a great night. We'll see you.